Hey everyone, it's Pastor Matt Jensen again. Go ahead and pull up the sermon discussion guide for Sunday, November 10th, and we're going to go through it in the next few minutes. It's a sermon that Alex preached um, titled Responding to God's Holiness. So we're continuing in the series called Focus. So this whole sermon on November 10th is focusing on God's holiness and cultivating awe and looking at the difference between God and us and what does that mean and what are we supposed to do with that. Go ahead and pull up the sermon discussion guide and we're going to go through it just real briefly. The share your story section, those two questions are really to help kind of whet the appetite of the participants to really show how God is so different than us, and yet there can be bridges built for a relationship there. Then we move on into hear God's story. The first question there is about really exploring the contrast of God and humanity using Isaiah 6, 1-5. So Alex referenced that in the sermon. We're going to be looking at it a little more deeper here in our group. And the second question there, Psalm 65, 5-8, all about cultivating awe. What is that and what does that look like? Number 3, Psalm 32. Alex mentioned the first part of this psalm in his sermon, but for this, I'm recommending we look at the whole psalm. There's two parts to it. There's kind of a part 1 and a part 2. And they kind of sandwich together to give us a whole picture of how God is holy, yet he forgives us and comes to us. And then the second part is we kind of get a picture of the spiritual life and spiritual disciplines and obedience and things like that. And so we're going to be looking at that together and kind of panning out. And then the create your news story, this is the application part. Right, the first question there, a lot of people aren't used to this, so it's going to be challenging to say, okay, just do this once this week. Spend 20 minutes in silence in awe of God. So it's a spiritual discipline of being silent, of being still, and practicing that. And then number 2, how can we grow in the daily habit of asking God for forgiveness? How does it relate to obedience? And then pan out even further, how do we check our motives while we do that so this doesn't become just another religious and Christian dead work? So we're just playing Christian, putting on our masks. Okay, how can we guard our motive? Really focused on who God is, cultivate that awe, and do it from the right heart. All right, so the going deeper section. I have always loved Revelation 4 when we talk about God's holiness and seeing him for who he is. And so this exercise, you're going to be reading John 4 with your group. And the caveat here is to really imagine yourself with John when he's ushered into the very throne room of God. So what are you seeing? What are you feeling? What emotions can you imagine you'd have while you're in there with him? So it's a really beautiful portrayal of a place where John is taking. Words fail because it's so awesome. And then some questions there to go into after that. What does it tell us about the holiness of God? How does it impact your view and daily practice of Christianity? And then to kind of wrap everything up, the last question there, number 4, how would you respond to someone who asked you, why does any of this matter? So you've gone through the whole study, you've gone through the going deeper and all this. Why does this matter? So really, that's the sermon discussion guide. I hope it gives you guys some good talking points and really helps bring the sermon to life. Thanks, guys.